Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of Secrets from the Saddle. But before we get started, I have some coaching announcements. Now, they are wrapped around fitness for cycling and cycling skills. Now, the first one is I am going to be launching an online fitness membership, and there's going to be cycling involved in there too, but not till the fall. Now, what it's all about is that cycling is great, but we certainly need to think about muscle development and strength for strength, power, and speed on our bikes. And what's better to do is to work out with weights and bands and start developing those muscles. So for you guys, this is super special. Get on my VIP list so you get a great deal on the first time membership. Go to cyclefitness.online, get on the list, and you're going to get a great deal. The next one is my cyclingskillspro.com, and these are my online cycling skills programs. So I have a 4-hour cycling skills intensive. You get all the things you need to know to really improve your cycling and exponentially become a more efficient and economical cyclist. Or you can do it in a 4-hour, you can do it a 4-week, or you can get a downloadable module where you can just do it at your own pace. And use this code PEDAL to get an extra $50 off. With that, have an amazing episode and enjoy the interview. All right, everybody, thank you so much again for joining us for another episode of Secrets from the Saddle, all things cycling, with your hosts, Sylvie and KELSEY Mitchell, who is currently on our Canadian track team and is in Milton training her butt off for this summer's Olympics. I don't think anything's been, but we're super excited to have her here. I love talking to pro athletes, or say Olympic athletes, and just getting their story. So welcome, KELSEY.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, fingers crossed about.
Yeah, I know. Fingers crossed. Hope you have a second, anyways, talk about that later on. So here's a little bit of her background before we dive right into the questions. So KELSEY used to play soccer at the university level and has always enjoyed a variety of sports, including basketball, ringette, dojo, gymnastics. I I really went through that. I just saw the first handball and volleyball. I have to ask about gymnastics because my daughter did gymnastics. And here's a little bit about her starting. Is like she attended an RBC Training Ground event in August 2017, so not too long ago, where she exceeded the national standard for track cycling. So this is kind of where we're going to start our questions, and like how you really got into cycling. Maybe just tell me how your gymnastics experience was, or how long you spent there, because I was a gymnastics mom for my daughter for like 6 years. So I don't know, did you spend that long in gymnastics?
No, I was young, and I think I was 8, and they asked me to start going more competitive, and my parents were just kind of like, we're gonna keep her in a variety of sports, so can't just commit to the one.
Okay. Smart parents.
Yeah.
Smart parents. All right. So then let's just jump into like how you found yourself at that training grounds. I assume it was probably like a recruitment kind of day for come out and get tested and see if you get an invite. How did you get
kinda. I mean,
there?
So I finished my university level soccer, so you get 5 years in Canada, and I was all done. I went traveling, did Southeast Asia for 3 months, came back and just was kind of lost.
Yeah, typical end of year, eh? Like just gonna go traveling.
Yeah, exactly. In the middle of winter.
Bali. Go to Bali? Yeah.
Bali, Thailand, it was amazing. It was an incredible experience,
Wow.
Obviously. So yeah, I came back and was just kind of lost, not sure what the next step was in life. I had got a job part-time just driving trucks for the summer. I would literally just ride the break of the truck, and my partner would be in the ditch, like spraying weeds. And so it was like 8 hours a day of doing that. So I had a lot of
like
time
for
to
the
think.
city?
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is in Sherwood Park, so just outside Edmonton, Alberta.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so did that. Was obviously not super pumped about that job, and so was looking into other options. Sports were such a huge part of my life. I always played any sport I could, and I'd heard about this thing called RBC Training Grounds, which is basically an event where it tests an athlete's speed, power, strength, and endurance. And I played a bunch of sports. I was never technically or tactically the best, but I like worked really hard and was an all-around pretty good athlete. So I thought, yep, let's do it. Let's just see what happens. My last kind of chance at continuing with sports. So all the testing was done in Alberta, and so I found out there was still one in Toronto at the end of the summer. So the little money I had from after traveling, I like booked a flight to Toronto, and my parents are just kind of like, "What are you doing? Like, get a job," and But I was like, "No, one last try." Yeah. Reality, no, I'm not ready. So yeah, booked the trip. Trained throughout the summer. Would go for runs on my lunch break, and then just get in the gym after work and just try to get back into shape, because I was definitely not at my peak performance after traveling. So yeah, booked my flight. Yeah, sure. Yeah, beach body. Drinking beer instead of water.
Yeah. Can I ask you what you took in university?
Yeah, I took, it's called Instrumentation Engineering Technology. So it's a diploma I took, and then I also have personal fitness training.
Perfect.
Complete opposite things, but yeah.
Yeah. How'd you put them together?
I was just, one was just kind of like, I knew I could get a really good job with the one and kind of enjoy my life outside of work. And the other one would have been kind of like loving my work, but would definitely have to like start at the bottom and work my way up. So I just wasn't sure which way I wanted to go in life. So got two complete opposite things. So then
you're in Toronto.
So yeah, I'm in Toronto. I flew in like 4 days early to like adjust from the 2-hour time change and like flight legs. And I'm at the tryout. And so anyone between the ages of 15 to 25 can go. And so I'm 23 at the time. So definitely on the older end compared to everyone else. And I remember standing in line with a girl, and she's probably like 16. And she's like, oh, my mom made me come. Like, I don't even really want to be here. As I had like flown across the country, and I was like, this is my last shot.
You have no clue, sweetie.
Yeah. And so I went and I did a vertical jump, and it was, I guess, pretty good. And there was a Cycling Canada representative there, pulled me aside, and he said, I want to get you on the watt bike. So I'm like, okay, got on the watt bike. It was 6 seconds all out, and I did 1,300 watts seated. And he's like, do you know what this means? And I'm like, no, I have no idea what this means. And he's like, you just exceeded the national standard, blah, blah, blah. We'd love to pursue you and maybe get some testing done in Milton at the velodrome. And I'm like, well, I'm from Edmonton. And they're like, that's no worries. We'll like bring you out and sort it all out. So that was kind of the moment where I was like, whoa, this is like, they are interested. This could actually lead to something. And so, yeah, fast forward a month, I came back and tried the velodrome. First time on the velodrome, first time trying a fixed gear bike. I was in Lululemon pants, so obviously was not dressed accordingly.
She's new.
So yeah, very new. I was like, I don't know how you guys do this. And they're like, we get padded shorts. I'm like, yeah, all right. So yeah, it was a really cool experience because I'd never tried it before. It was fun going fast. Definitely was a little uncomfortable and a little uneasy with the banking and everything, but it was really cool. So then a month later, I came back again on my own dime to try to do the final for RBC Training Grounds, and that went well. And then a month later, I signed with Cycling Canada.
Wow.
Yeah. So then
That's amazing.
spent 2018 learning how to ride a bike, learning how to ride the rollers, learning how to ride the track. Just, it was very, very steep
learning how to ride the bike.
Well, like I knew how to ride a bike, like, oh,
like a track bike?
sorry. Yeah, a track bike. Sorry, I knew how to ride like a road or like I rode bike when I was like a kid, but since then I was always into like running sports.
Well, so now you come back. So you came back, and is that when you got like an apartment and this is where you kind of settled?
So I came back to Edmonton, and
Yeah.
then I started training full time with Juventus, a club there. I was working
Okay.
with a guy named Alex Ngaro. And so it was at that time, it was January, so we're inside. I'm trying to figure out how to ride the rollers, which is a very frustrating thing to do because no matter how hard you try, you like it wasn't from lack of trying, it's just I wasn't good at it. I had to figure out how to balance, how to pedal properly. It was very frustrating at the beginning because I hated being bad at it.
I was just like, I remember 10 years ago trying the rollers as well. Just like,
It's it's a very hard thing to do. Like now you can kind of get on and it's
yeah. It's
natural,
like
but
the moment you lose focus, you're like, "Rawr."
yeah, you have to like stare at one spot and like eventually you're able to watch TV, but like can't move your head at all, just your eyes.
You're completely tense and you're like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
uh.
The core strength you get just from that, just trying to stay upright is incredible.
I know I did like I remember learning, and it was just like the funniest thing. Like it was a whole gang of us. We're all like, somebody was helping us out, and we're like, okay. But luckily we were in like a dojo or like a karate studio, and they had the bars like along the sides. So we're all like beside the bars holding on, and you know, it's just like, and you got
Yeah,
those
to
little
this
steps.
day. Yeah,
Yeah,
I still have it on my right hand side and I'm holding on to the bar unless I'm going
something.
like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I yeah, there's people who can get on without holding on to anything and I'm like, okay, that's in 5 years I'll learn that.
Yeah, I know some guys who like sit there and, you know, like drink coffee and read the newspaper. I'm like,
The legs are just spinning.
yeah. I'm like, and that's like, you know, 20, 30 years of experience.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know about that. I just started taking my hands off myself
Yeah,
because like
exactly.
trained half on the rollers and half on my trainer this winter. So
Hmm.
I was like, but I really like the
Progress.
rollers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. It's really good for leg speed for sure, especially if you're on the track, because you do ride at quite a higher cadence. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So you started in 2017, and then you went to just a second. When did you podium for the
So
Pan Ams?
that was in 2019. So we're in 2018, January, February, March. I'm training, trying to figure it out. And then in May, I got invited to do a month camp with Cycling Canada. So that was super exciting. When I arrived, I learned that I was definitely out of my league and I had no right being on the track. Like I was messing up people's warm-ups and like I'd never ridden like behind a moto. It was just, yeah, it was a lot. And like in the gym, everyone's lifting like 10 times as much as me. I'm like, okay, step it up,
But I
Kels.
can do 1600 watts. So, but
Yeah. Yeah,
I
exactly.
was
I just have to learn
asked.
how to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I know that feeling
Um,
of being uncomfortable and out of your league. I've felt
oh,
that before, and it's like I'm
yeah.
just gonna get the
Yeah,
most out of it for me.
Yeah, it was yeah, mentally, well, physically it was a struggle, mentally it was a struggle, just I was so out of my element and like it was the national team, like they're not gonna teach me how to pedal a bike, like they expect me to be at some certain level, you know? So everyone was super nice, but it was a lot. And then I did a month in T-Town. They do Trexlertown, Pennsylvania. They have a velodrome there where they do a bunch of racing for a month to get some UCI points. So I did that, and that was kind of my first race experience. Yeah, that was again. I don't know what I was doing out there, but it was just like it was fun. I started to get the hang of like going fast, and it was a really like I started to fall in love with the sport.
Yeah, don't ride beside her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, there was a race. We like did some bunch races, and it's a fixed gear, obviously, so like no brakes, and like it's an elimination. So the last one across the line is eliminated. So like you like sprint, so you're not the last one, but no one ahead of you sprinted. So you're like backpedaling and just trying not to crash into 20 people. That was
I could feel you. I've been,
yeah.
I've never been to Milton. I've been to Forest City a bunch of times I'd bring like a group of girls down just to like the team that I started. We go down there like once a winter just to break things up and have some fun.
Nice,
and
yeah.
and Rob Good would be coaching us, and everybody has to go through the level 1 to get on the track, to be able to learn how to ride the track.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just remember it took me like forever to feel comfortable to even pass someone. But that velodrome's small, right? Like before
I've never
been
ridden
there,
it, but I've heard it's so small, and you're just like constantly like there's no
whiplash. Like you'd be like, you're so fast around there, you almost get dizzy. So
feel the G-force in the corner.
Yeah, seriously, because it's 280 meters, so it's like half the size.
Is it?
It's like a hockey rink. It's the size of a hockey rink.
Yeah, it's so small. Because the Milton one's 250.
No, 250? Oh, 180.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 180.
180. Okay, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it'd be like, so before you get your nerve up, you're in the corner, and then you're like, okay, I got to do it this time, and then you're like, no, it's it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. But so how did it feel going to Pan Am's? Like after you made it through like all the training and got your race experience, and they're like, okay, let's take her to Pan Am's and just let her loose. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it was like I did nationals in 2018, and then I was brought onto the team. So then I moved out to Milton. So then I was on the track and just like slowly figuring it all out. So then so that would have been October 2018, and so had a lot of months of training, and then it was July 2019 where it was Pan Am Games. And yeah, Pan Am Games was really cool. It was like my first big international competition that it's like a mini Olympics is what they told me. I don't know what the Olympics is like, but I'm assuming it's like that but bigger. It was incredible. It was so cool. Like the stands were packed, my parents were there. You get like all the Canada swag and media. It's just a big deal. It was so cool. And yeah, I went there and broke the Pan Am record, which was really cool, and then medaled. I got a gold and silver. Yeah, so that was kind of like the start of it all for me.
So how are your parents? So back step to your parents, you're like, wow, what are you doing going out to Toronto to that? And then you come back and like, yeah, I've been invited. So what did they think about this whole thing? And then to be sitting in the Pan Ams, you're like, hey, I got just one. Yeah. What did they think? Like, how did that little like journey go for you and with them?
My parents are so incredible. They're so supportive. And I think it was just in that moment, they like knew I was kind of lost from traveling and didn't know what to do. And so they're like, well, why don't you get a job? And like, like that's kind of the next natural step. But once I went to the tryout and then I told them about how Cycling Canada was interested, they were all in too. They're like, yeah, let's go. Like, you can do this. And so, yeah, they're my biggest hype people. They're like all my races that they can possibly go to. And like, my dad will always try and talk to me about Kieran tactics. And I'm like, you don't know. Like, I was watching some films. And I'm like, okay.
Oh gosh. You've been watching too much YouTube.
Yeah. So they're fully invested for sure.
Have siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother and a sister, and they're incredible as well. Very supportive. So
are they both into sports as well?
Not so much my sister. She was more arts, drama. And my brother played sports throughout high school. And then after that was done. So yeah, I was kind of the one that was like, I love it so much. I can't stop. So
do something. Cool. All right. Yeah. So gosh, you won. So how did that feel? Like,
it was cool. It was cool. I mean,
Kelsey.
Yeah, it was an incredible moment, and I think it like gave me a lot of confidence going forward. It was a really big year from then till March 2020, because that is that race. And then we had Pan Am Champs, where you get a lot of points towards the Olympics. And so everyone's like, okay, well, this is when everyone peaks. And so went there, and then that's actually where I broke the world record in Cochabamba, Bolivia. So at altitude, everyone was super fast, and I was lucky enough to set the world record there. And I won gold, 2 golds and a bronze there. And then after that, it was World Cups, where there was 3 weeks. We were in Hong Kong, New Zealand, and Australia back to back, just trying to get points towards so we could qualify for the Olympics.
So did you just stay traveling, or did you come home in between those?
No, we just flew from place to place, because it was like each 3 weekends. We were tired by the end.
I guess it's like
but that went well too. Got a bronze and a silver in the sprint, and then we had a World Cup at home in January in Milton, and this was really cool because so many of my friends and family flew out and were there for it. Got a gold and silver there, and then we did Worlds in Germany. Like literally, if it was a week later, we probably wouldn't have been able to do it because of COVID, but it was like right before everything. So finished there, locked in 2 spots for the Olympics, and then COVID hit.
So what 2 spots did you lock in?
So we have 2 sprint spots and 2 keirin spots. So there's 3 events at the Olympics for sprint, and we didn't get the team sprint spot, but we have the other 2.
So that's what you're training for right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so back to March 2020, where everything stopped for everybody. Yeah. How did that affect you? Because I've talked to a lot of athletes on the podcast, and everybody was affected differently. Like everybody took it really differently. How did you take it?
Imagine. Initially, obviously, I was devastated, very upset, just because that had been such the focus and goal for the past 3 years. Like I literally thought of nothing else, kind of. And so to hear first that Canada wasn't going, I was scared it was still going to happen and we'd be watching from home, but then it was completely postponed. So then was kind of a relief that we knew we wouldn't be sitting at home watching it. So
that would have been like a bit.
That would break my heart. I can't imagine. No. Yeah. So now I took it as a blessing. I was always playing catch up, just trying to learn as quickly as I could, and it was go trying to qualify. And then I gained an extra year to get stronger on the bike, learn to be more efficient, learn more tactics, everything. And so I got 4th at Worlds that year, and so going into the Olympics, it was looking pretty good. And then I just got a whole nother year, and so no one really knows where anyone's at, but I definitely know I've been busting my ass to try and get better.
So true, eh? It's really going to be interesting to watch, to see how athletes have used their last year. So for you, what were, say, maybe the 2 to 3 things that you said, okay, this is great, I've got time to focus on these things to get better? What were those, maybe what was the number 1 and number 2 thing? You're like, oh yeah, I need to do that.
Tactics, sprint tactics. I was there physically, I'd say. My times were pretty good in the 200. But in the keirin, when there's 5 people around you at 65 kilometers an hour, I wasn't drafting properly, or I wasn't timing my rush. So it was just being on the track more over this year has been so beneficial for me. I've watched a lot of films and races and stuff, and we do match sprints with some of the development guys, and I just feel way more comfortable now, where before I was I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna go all out and
just
each round.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Go.
Actually, yeah. And so I would just die in between the rounds. It would be 30-second all out, and the lactic acid, everyone's dying, I know for sure. And I probably was just a little bit more dramatic, but it was a very hard training days for me. So I think I just learned how to deal with that better, and how to conserve more energy using other people, like drafting and stuff. So that was kind of like a few of the main things that I really needed to focus on.
That's awesome. Now, is your nutrition a big part too? Like,
yes.
good, good.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, everybody's like tactics and races, and then I'm like, but how do you feel your body? Like, is that part of it?
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
some people are just like, yeah, you know, just.
Oh my God. It was very tricky. I came in and I wasn't built like a cyclist at all. I was built like someone who had retired from soccer and was trying to get back into shape, essentially. And so
What
I
does
just had
that
to put
mean?
on.
Oh,
I don't know how much description I should go into.
like were you're like, I don't know, what does a soccer player look like? Like
Well,
slender?
washed up soccer player.
Oh,
I was
washed
fluffy.
up
I was
soccer.
ready for winter. Yeah.
I've had a good time on the beach in Fiji.
Yeah. Yeah. So I needed to drop some fat, put on some muscle. And so I really locked down on, it was like probably a year leading up to, so like 2019, 2020, I was trying to figure out how to fuel my body so I can get through training, but not have too much that I was putting on weight or like putting on fat. The weight didn't really matter. It was just kind of trying to drop the fat and put on muscle. And so finding that balance was tough, but I kind of got it locked in, and I pretty much eat the same thing every day, and it works.
It's
And
like,
so,
yeah, this
yeah,
works. And because I
yeah.
imagine you would have to eat a lot, a considerable amount based on, I guess, about the volume you're
Mhm.
doing and the energy output.
So compared to like endurance riders,
Yeah.
we eat less, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Protein, we eat a lot of protein because we're in the
Yeah.
gym 3 times a week, and then we're on the track 4 times a week for a 3-hour session, but our efforts are like 20 seconds long and then like 15-minute rest in between. So I guess we're burning quite a bit of fat, but like,
Yeah. Okay.
we're not eating bars like on rides, because our rides are max 2 hours. And so we'll maybe have 1 bar and like 2 drinks with
Oh,
some
yeah, I guess
electrolytes
so.
in it.
Yeah.
We train very differently from the endurance, but I mean, I eat a lot, but it's pretty like clean.
Yeah, of course, it has to be. All right. So obviously the current goals are Tokyo. Do you have it? What are you visualizing right now, Kelsey? Tell us. What do you see? If you want to share, because sometimes I know, like, when I would go into a race, I would never share how I truly, like, what I was truly feeling inside. I'm like, yeah, you know, this is what I envisioned myself having, but inside I'm like, you know, like, this is what I'm
Yeah,
gonna do. But you know, this is so
yeah,
never
yeah,
really
totally.
share what I'm truly like, whose ass I'm gonna kick or whatever. But
Yeah, who you're
I'm
visualizing.
like, yeah, I'm just gonna go out there and I'm gonna do the best I can.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly. Bottom line, I just I want to go and have my best performance. I think if I walk away from it knowing I did everything I could to end up where I do is kind of like the bottom line that I know I'm going to have to keep reminding myself however it goes. But I want to be on the podium. I can see it. I can visualize
bottom
it.
line, that's where I'm gonna be.
Yeah. I mean, you go, like, nobody goes to an event saying I want to get 16th. You know, you go and you want to do your best. You want to win.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's just, yeah. And so
yeah.
that's what I want. But bottom line is, like, I got to go and get my best performance and see where that takes me. That's my
Well,
mentality.
now, what?
I said that's my mentality on it.
Well, I totally agree. I think that's awesome. Obviously, you're not sitting there going, well, I just want to finish the race. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, yeah, I've got a certain goal. Now, before I move on to the next question, right now you're practicing tactics, or you're looking at tactics. Are you also watching videos of your competitors or past Olympic races that give you idea of like different strategies, or like how does one prepare like tactically for your races, because you got two events you're going into to give you that competitive edge?
So I think the sports just changed so much. Past Olympics, people would ride quite a bit smaller of a gear. And so like in the match sprint, they keep it pretty slow and try and jump at the end. And so where now is people are tossing on a big gear and you got to wind it in. Nobody's really track standing anymore to like fight for, I don't know how much, you know, track cycling, but if it's 1v1, some people want the back so they can draft, but if you slow it down too much, it's hard to get the gear going. And so I think since 2016, it's changed a lot. So I do watch like the past World Cup and Worlds. I mostly watch myself to see what mistakes I made and where I can improve. And so now we'll do match sprints against some of the development guys, and they just gear down or they don't have race wheels on, so it's a little more even. And I just learn from doing, and I make a mistake and I hopefully don't do it again. Is kind of how I've been learning it.
Don't do that again.
Yeah, learn my lesson. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I only do it once. So what does like a typical day, like you mentioned you're in the gym 3 times, 4 times on the track. So what does like an atypical day for you look like, Kelsey?
Yeah, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have gym in the morning for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then we'll have track in the afternoon for about a 3-hour session. But on Wednesdays, we'll do more of an endurance ride, an endurance for sprints. So like an easy 20 kilometers an hour ride or something like that.
Oh, okay, that's nice. Like,
yeah.
Probably appreciate nice. That after the workout.
Yeah, for sure. And then Tuesday and Thursday, we'll have sometimes an easy ride in the morning, and then we'll do a track session in the afternoon. So yeah, we're on the track 4 or 5 times a week, and then in the gym 3 times a week.
So you have an official day off?
Sundays,
good old Sunday. Get to sleep in, do whatever, eat whatever. No,
exactly. Yeah, Sundays are a day. Actually, though, Sunday dinners. We have some friends here. We go for dinner there, and she's an amazing cook, so that's my cheat meal.
So yeah, does your weekend, like your Sunday, start like Saturday night?
Saturday afternoon, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So we got like all right. You got to keep it real, right? You got to keep a little bit of fun in there, or else like
exactly
it's not fun anymore.
Exactly.
So now tell me about your future. Now I know that your future is like Tokyo, but and you're young.
Thank you.
You're 25.
I'm 27.
27. But still, now you still got a lot of years ahead of you. What do you see happening like after Tokyo, let's say? Like and I'm not just talking about like cycling. Like at some point your cycling career, you're going to want to retire at some point. Maybe not in the next 10 years. I don't know. But have you thought about that? Have you given thought to that?
No.
Are you setting yourself up for that?
I know I should. I think I was just so laser focused on like figuring out the bike and qualifying for the Olympics and going that I don't think I think past it as in I want to do 2024.
Right. Okay.
But I don't know what I'll do after. I love this lifestyle. I love being an athlete. I love training full time and racing and representing Canada. It's just like literally was my dream, and now I'm living it. And so it's so hard for me to think, well, after, what are you going to do? I'm not sure yet. And I'm keeping doors open, and I think everything like this kind of just fell into place, and I just hope that afterwards everything will just kind of fall into place. I'll probably have to plan ahead a bit, but right now I'm just
not till like September. But
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I'll think about that in September. But like, so I look kind of like at Jenny, you know, Jenny True.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
So she went from, you know, her cycling career to a coach in the velodrome. Do you see yourself kind of staying in like the realm of cycling at some capacity? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously Canada could probably use like way more female coaches.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
you would probably be an amazing coach.
Oh, thank you. I I've been asked like if I would like to coach, and I always am like I could never coach because I did train people for a bit, and every time I was training them, I'd want to be doing the exercises with them, and so I thought that if I was coaching, I'd want to be competing. But I think I'll reach a point where I'm like I'm done and I'm ready to hang up the bike and maybe coach or like give back in some way. Um, and there is a velodrome, hopefully, being built in Edmonton, an indoor one. Um, and so there's
Are they going to
maybe
cover
potential there.
the outdoor one, you think?
No,
No,
it's
eh?
gonna be, yeah, it'll be attached to a pool that's already there, and it would have like a big walking track, and so it'd be like a triathlete center, indoor triathlete center. That's the word on the street. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I think having Canadian athletes coach or Canadian coaches coaching Canadian athletes or coaches that have gone through Cycling Canada and like experienced it, know what that level of racing is like, and females in those roles is definitely can be improved and have more of them. Like Jenny is such a great example of someone who's doing so much good for Cycling Canada and so much good for women in cycling. And I think and hope that it'll keep growing. Like I know Laura Brown is also coming, getting certified. I don't really know, getting certified in coaching and like has
Yeah,
been helping out, yeah, a lot with
yeah.
Cycling Canada and stuff. So yeah, it's really cool to see people who have gone through come back and support it. So it's definitely a possibility. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, that's good because I know like there's always that amazing female athletes. We need as many, you know, amazing coaches to be there for our female athletes. Who is your coach, by the way?
His name is Franck Dervois. I definitely said that wrong. Dervois. He's from France.
Dubois?
French. He's French. Dervois. Yeah, sure. Franck. His name's Franck.
You need a female coach. No, I'm just kidding.
He's great. He's great. He's great. But yeah, it is nice to see females in those positions for sure.
Well, amazing. I don't know. Do you have any advice for any young athletes coming up the ranks, you know, after high school, or looking at cycling, or if they're like in nationals? Like, do you have any advice or any last words to distill on us before you go off and conquer Tokyo?
Oh gosh. I mean, there's so much advice I could give or so much to say, but I think it's just a generalized thing in life. You got to do what makes you happy, and if riding a bike or playing sports or just staying active, doing something makes you happy, don't stop. Like there's even if you don't make it to the national team, there's other teams you can join, there's other organizations, the provincial level. Like it's just if it makes you happy, keep doing it. And I hope my story just shows that like sports made me happy and I was done with soccer, but I found a different route and I'm happier than I've ever been. And I'm just so grateful for the path that I took. And I hope that people can see it and just know that if one door closes, another one can open and doesn't have to be done. So, yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of girls, probably guys in that position, maybe even now, like right now, because there is no sports, you know, they're so highly involved in like soccer and hockey, and it's kind of gone. Like it
Yeah.
hasn't come back yet. And
Yeah.
I, for one, am just thinking about all those people or all those, I don't know, teenagers who had something but don't have anything right now.
Mhm.
That cycling is
Yeah.
making a huge
Yeah.
um, I wouldn't say, I'm not going to say comeback because that's not the right word, but it's just increase in visibility, I guess. Like everybody's got bikes because, you know,
For
it's
sure.
probably the only thing that is left that there's, you know, you can do without
Yeah.
having to worry about, you know,
Yeah.
being exposed to big groups and things like that.
Yeah, the
So
market is booming, the bike industry. We're actually so lucky because I know a lot of athletes had to stop training throughout COVID and quarantine because they couldn't be with their team or couldn't be in the facility. And like, yeah, we were inside the house on the trainer for hours, but we were able to do something and train our sport. So like, biking is such a great option because I mean, outside or inside, you can stay active, you can be competitive against yourself, you can be competitive against others with like Swift or whatever, but yeah, it's awesome that
yeah,
people
that's
are
a
picking it up.
whole other world.
Yeah.
You don't have to be
Oh yeah.
competitive on the road. You can be competitive virtually, which is
Yeah, it's insane.
crazy to me. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to see those people get out on a race.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Give them
like,
extra room. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. No rules. You can ride over people and all sorts.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, this has been amazing. I love this, Kelsey, and I'm so glad that you were able to jump on here. We are going to be cheering from you from when is Tokyo? Is it July? Or is it August?
End of July, but track isn't till like the first week or second week of August. First week of
Oh,
August.
okay, so in August we should be
Yeah, turn on your
getting
TV.
our cheering hats on, everything
Yeah.
for all
Yeah.
our Canadian athletes going down there, because I know the ones that I've been talking about have been training crazy. So like you said, you're gonna see how everybody's dealt with this, and it's
Yeah,
gonna come
it's gonna be
out.
pretty cool. Yeah,
It's gonna
it's gonna be
come out
great.
on the track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll be super ready. So thank you so much. And thank you to all our listeners for jumping into this episode. We appreciate you. Please don't forget to put notifications on and share and give us a 5-star review, right, Kelsey? We deserve a 5-star
Yeah,
review.
5-star for
5-star
sure.
review, guys. Our Canadian Olympic athlete needs a 5-star review.
Yes, please.
5 stars and a review. A good one.
Yeah, yeah. More than a sentence. Yeah.
Yes, thanks. All right, thank you very much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day, and we'll see you later. Bye.